Voila, view, present. Voila. Yeah, when I listen to myself on the recording, I hear myself saying a lot, voila. That is a French expression to say, I don't know what it is, but well, I know exactly what it means, but it says like something like, see here. Apparently it's something I say quite a lot. Anyway, the idea of today is to discuss what you see on the screen. So what I've done as a follow-up to the last session is I worked a little bit on the slides and I reworked a little bit the setup slide, the slide that you actually see now, correcting also things that maybe were not well displayed. One of the things was like the gateway 2. I attached it like an extra leg to gateway 1, which was really not correct, since gateway 2 is not connected directly to gateway 1. It's basically connected to the VXLAN that you set up to gateway 1, and it gets an IP address on that VXLAN. So you see that gateway 2 got an IP address from gateway 1 basically on the VXLAN that starts with 118. It got address number 20, let's say. Yeah. Remember the last time and I will go through again through the setup in Insomnia in a minute. We had a little problem because of myself making a mistake in specifying a wrong MAC address by making sure that the MAC address you specify in the DNS host entries is exactly the same one as the one you specify at when creating the VM. Typically solves the problem. If these are not correct, if these are different, it will simply not work. You will not see VM3 getting connected to the VXLAN as you want to. Now, what I want to discuss today, I wanted to discuss basically two things, but I've lost so much time in getting the first thing working that I will not cover the second thing. But I think the first thing is at least as interesting as the second thing. And the first thing is what you see here, is that I've created a third gateway. Yeah, and there is no reason or specific reason why I did create this gateway in the same CPU node. I could also have been creating it in another CPU node. I could have been creating all the gateways in the same CPU node. So it doesn't matter too much. Remember always when you create a gateway, you could put it anywhere. At the end of the day, the gateway is nothing more than just another workload, in this case a container, running somewhere in the cluster. And independently of where the physical, well, it's not even physical, of where the virtual machines and the containers that will attach to the gateway will be hosted, the gateway can be anywhere. And that's also what I try to show here. Again, there is no particular reason for doing so. The only reason why I did so is because I want to show you that this is really perfectly doable, is that the gateway can be on one node and the actual virtual machines, here only one, can be on another CPU node. In this case, and maybe I should do that as an exercise, I can easily add more virtual machines to this environment and, for instance, run virtual machines 5 and 6 on yet another CPU node. But from a logical perspective, they're all connected to the same VXLAN, as you can see it here. Now, what is so special about this configuration is we have been talking about VXLAN, we have been talking about VLAN, and we are adding now this blue line here that allows you to connect basically a private network, a virtual private network, a VXLAN, living somewhere in the cluster and connected directly to your machine. It's pretty straightforward if you think about it, because we use ZeroTier for that. but I just wanted to show you how you do that, both at the level of the configuration of the gateway and at the level of the configuration of your host, of your personal computer, because you will need to add a route, of course, towards that VXLAN. That's what I will be showing you. Good. So that's basically the only picture that I've been updating as a preparation for this session. My idea is that I will be adding more of these kind of pictures each time to show you the exact topology that we are creating. So what's next? Let's have a look to like the other time to this wonderful tool here, Insomnia. So what I did, let's again start from a clean sheet so it's really clear what I do. And maybe for the exercise, let's start from the bottom by first creating a new virtual disk. So let's create a new virtual disk. Let's call this the VM 101, whatever, what's in the name, boot. And basically, there is nothing that I need to change here apart from the name or the ID. Remember that the important thing when creating vDisks is that you need to point to an image. And we again use the address of the hub where we have been sharing and uploading, and where you download basically the F-lists. We use basically the same infrastructure, the same environment to share images. These images are real images. They are not like what you have in the case of containers F-lists. These are real images. And one of the things we still need to discuss going forward is how you create your images. Now, let me already tell you the following about that. Both for the F-lists that you need for a container and the virtual machine images, we will make it easy for you to create them in a very automated way. For instance, if you have a Docker container image, you can easily upload it to the hub and get in return simply a converted F-list, or an F-list based on the Docker file, on the Docker image, and start from there. The same thing will be made possible for disk images. So if you have a boot disk or a data disk and you want to make it available to the hub, it will be a very simple operation that simply results as what you see here in an URL that you can then use in order to start them. So we also have in the documentation somewhere, I will not talk about it now, but somewhere a step-by-step explanation how you could create these images yourself. But I think it's really not what you want to do. It works, and it's certainly something that some of you will want to try. But anyway, remember for now that we will make that much more easier going forward. So let's create this this boot image starting from, or this virtual disk, sorry, from a boot disk as it's available on the hub. So this is quite straightforward, nothing special. The next thing that you then will want to do is, well, you can list all the boot disks. In my case, let's do that, list them all. So I have, as a preparation for this session, I've been creating multiple boot disks, and the new one should now also be in the list now. Let's check a few times. The 101, yeah, it should have completed. Voila, it's there. I was not looking good. Well, so there it is. So there we have the boot disk. The next thing you then typically do, but I won't do it immediately, is create a virtual machine. And that is what you do under nodes, not a gateway, but under VMS. Well, that's how I organized my work here. And then I have prepared this create VM. And what we will do, we'll create a VM, let's call it 101, with some standard settings. I specify the boot disk, that's very important. And here then I specify, that's important, first of all, Let's remember that. Let's call this the 10, whatever. I'm only changing the last 2 digits here. This is important that when we create the gateway, when we specify the hosts for the DHCP server configuration, we need to make sure that we have a good match of the MAC address. So remember the 10. And then this is, if you have a look to the picture in my slide here, here it's important that you, when creating the gateway, so in my case I already created gateway 3, but let's create a gateway 4 as an exercise, is that when you specify then the VXLAN, that you again make sure that you're referencing the same number. In my case, I always took like this number as part of the IP address of the ID of the VXLAN. So let's create for now a new one, and let's call it the 122. Because I also have a 121 as an exercise. You don't see it on the picture, but let's create a 122 later on. Okay, that's the only thing that I need to change. I will not push the create button right now. Also here, I can decide where I want to create it. So that let's do that later. What I will do now, I go first to the gateways, and again, we typically will want to check any node where we have gateways. So I can list the gateways for, let's take whatever node we want. Let's take node. So I also changed this a little bit in my way of presenting things. It's much more easy to show than in a demo. Let's take CPU node 5. Don't know where there is something on it. Let's check it. There is no gateway at all at that place. What we will do now is basically create a new gateway, and we'll call it gateway whatever 5, or let's call it 101, gateway 101. And let me discuss everything you see here. This time I'm not going to build it up. So again, there is one important part. Well, there is one new part in this exercise, and that's at the bottom. Well, almost at the bottom. I mean, at the bottom of the section with the NICs, the network interface cards. I've added one. It's not there. I don't see it, so I still need to add it, which is okay, which makes the exercise pretty complete. Okay. So what we need to add now, remember in this picture, what you see here, we have now 3 lags. We have a lag, let's say, to the internet gateway. As before, that's the VLAN. Then we have a lag which represents the VXLAN, just as before. And now we have the 3rd lag, which is basically the ZeroTier entry. And we will add now a ZeroTier entry, and that is what is different from the previous example. Now, the VLAN, I always need to specify the same one, because that's the one we have available in this setup. So it's a 301. And this is important. I will use one of the IP addresses over there that is available. So I take a new one, like 41, because I already used 38, 39, and 40. So I'm using now 41. And this will not work because there is no 41. So let's take 36, I think, or 30, yeah, 7, I think, is still free on that VLAN. So let's take that. And then, of course, we specify the gateway, the internet gateway in that VLAN. So that's what I also added here in the picture, which was not there yesterday or 2 days ago. So we point to the internet gateway, and we then specify an IP address for the gateway, in our case, gateway 101. Good. Then we specify the configuration for the 2nd lag. In our case, it's the VLAN that we then give an IP range. There is basically also no reason at all to change this. So every VLAN can have the same subnet addressing, and there's no reason to change that. I do always do that, but that's certainly not needed at all. And then for that lags in the network, for that VXLAN, we specify a DHCP server configuration with, in this case, only one server or one host, and we take what was it, VM 101? Did we call it like that? It's not important, by the way, whatever you put here. What is important is that this one is correct. This one is important, and of course the IP address that it will get should be in that range. So we specify the 122.11. Again, could be anything. It's a 24, so I have the full 256 addresses available in that subnet, so I could have changed that. I keep the name servers, it's okay, but this time we'll add another entry. So this is the second entry, and we now need to add the third entry, which is then here. So we'll create the entry for the ZeroTier. That's what we need to do now. And let me see, let me copy it from here, because I already have it here. And let me explain it, copy it, voila, and go to create and add it here. Let me explain what I'm doing now. So I'm adding now a network interface of type ZeroTier. So we already had VXLAN, VLAN, now we have ZeroTier. We give it a name, any name, and then we specify an ID. Now this ID, just as in the case with VLAN, is not free, let's say. It needs to match the exact, in this case, ZeroTier network, just like it had to match the VLAN tag when you were creating a VLAN network. So what I can do here, I can create, of course, a new one, or I can use an existing one, thinking whether that's a problem. It should not be a problem, but let me anyhow create one to make the exercise as clean as possible. So let's create a new one, like this. Maybe I need to, yeah, there it is. You can give the name like EIP3. This is important. Make sure that you use the auto assign. Select one of the ranges that you want. Okay, so this is then the range that I will have. Currently there is nothing in it. We'll see it getting up here in a minute. Okay, so that's all we need to do. Just copy now the ID, because that's what you need to specify here in the specification, the configuration, voila, and that's it. For the rest, I also created a port forward immediately, because I will want to log into the VM, the new VM, through SSH. So what I do here, there is this destination part and there is a source part. The source part, remember, that's the IP address of the gateway, and we choose, what was it, 36, right? So that's what I specified, 37, so it should be 37. So let's make sure that I have 37 here, right? I take any number that I want to. This is the number that has been chosen. And then here we specify the address of the new VM that we will be adding. So this is like this. Should be fine. So let's create this on whatever node, like 5, because we didn't have anything yet there. But again, it doesn't matter. I could take any of the nodes that I have been using already, but to keep it all clean and easy to follow for you, let's do it there, and let's create this one. I don't think I forgot something. Just remember, I didn't discuss this again, but this is just like the cloud ini data that I pass. And the only thing that I do here is making sure that my public SSH key gets provisioned into the authorized keys file on the machine, so that I can easily log in without having to specify any password. So that this should have worked perfectly, and I can now list the result, and I see that it's there. Now it's typically then the time to create the virtual machine. So I go to my virtual machine, I create, it's already ready to do so. If I'm correct, I don't think I made any mistake. So I create this machine on CPU 10, whatever. So another machine, another CPU node is being created, and as a result, and here you have it, by the way, this is the request of the gateway. It came in quite late, in my view. So that's the IP address, the public IP address it got from ZeroTier. So that's where the gateway, the new gateway, the gateway 101 is available right now. Remember, it's tempting, but if you try to ping a gateway, you'll never get any response. That's on purpose. We do not respond to pings in a gateway for security reasons, but it's certainly not a good test then to check whether it's live. Now, what you do then, of course, also make sure that your own machine, let me do that, is in the network. So what I do is ZeroTier, you need to install, of course, the client, ZeroTier CLI, join, right? Take this URL again, or this ID, like this, voila, we join it, and we accept it. So this is gateway 101, yeah, and that's the MAC, yeah. Good, so they can reach each other, but there is one single thing we need to do. Before doing so, let's first check that everything got provisioned. So I list the VMs on node 10 because that's the one we used here. So just let's check whether it got deployed, sent. So VM 101 is running, so this all looks nice. Now let's see what we can do next, and maybe check the picture, because since it's being deployed like this, what this means that I did create a port forward on the gateway, but only on wait, let me check. I did create a port forward on this IP address. Yeah, we did use 37, I think. Yeah, and we did create a port forward there. So meaning that even without the ZeroTier, I should be able to reach it. So that's the first thing you typically can try, is reach it over there. Let me first check. Well, it's not important in this case, but anyway. Okay, my key is loaded, but that's not necessary right now. But what I can do now is SSH. -A is not important, but that's a good habit anyway. I go into the root and I use this IP address, but not the 39, of course. Yeah, but 37. I specified port 4422. So if everything is correct, I'm missing something, I guess. Aha, somebody gives me feedback or what? Add one to the beginning of the key. Yeah, indeed. The one, did I forget the one? Yeah, you're right, I guess. bad copy. Okay, thank you. So like this. So that's one way to get in it. So I'm in the VM, so that works. But of course, that's not the exercise. The exercise that I want to do is now to make sure that we can go into it over the ZeroTier network. And let's do that. Before doing that, there is this one important thing I need to show you. Let me explain how that works. What you now need to do, and that's, well, depending on the operating system you use, you typically need to use the route command. So I do sudo route, and what I will route now is I'll be adding a new route. That's how you do it on Mac. So it's a bit strange that they have you adding the -n. On other operating systems, you don't need to add this one. On Mac, you need to do so. So I now specify the address of the range, basically, that we are talking about. And there, have a look to the ZeroTier network. So basically what we need to specify is this one, is this part of, like this. Let me show you. So .0, right? And I think it was an 16, so have a look here, 24. So that's basically what you need to pass, the whole string here. So let me do it like this. So I'm saying to my computer that all connections that I try to make on that IP address should be routed to, well, in this case, the address of the gateway. And the address of the gateway is then, of course, well, I'm making a mistake, by the way. The address of the gateway, that's correct, but I make a mistake on another point. So this is correct, but this is not correct. What I need to specify here is, of course, the 192.168. I always forget that. Check here. You need to specify this here, these numbers. So 120, not 0, but 2.0, specifying the whole range. See? So this will make sure that when I try to connect to a machine using their private IP address, that it will get routed through the router, through the gateway, which is available on that ZeroTier network. Yeah? So, what this means is that I should be able to do SSH root, this time specifying the address of the machine. So 192.168.122.11, right? See? And I didn't have to specify any port in this case, because this is really direct connection now. So I have basically the same result as before. So I'm using ZeroTier in this exercise to connect to the machine. So using the gateway configuration, which also includes an entry for a ZeroTier network interface. That was the demo I prepared for the day. It's not a big demo, but it certainly completes what we already have been showing the last time. It will make things even clearer than before. The same concept, because just to make sure that you understand, if we look back in the slides, you might remember that in the slides at some point I specified for the VXLAN example that you could also specify a ZeroTier bridge as part of the configuration of an VXLAN configuration. This is something different. This is the second thing I was planning to demonstrate today. I haven't prepared, so I won't do it. I'll make it available later as a recording, I think. Is that you always can create a bridge between VXLANs. And that's probably even more exciting because that allows you not only to create bridges between VXLANs on the same cluster, but also between VXLANs in different clusters. And what is so also important about that is that you can then create two VXLANs that basically use the same subnet address space, really the same one. So I always change it, like I changed the third number, like 102 to 22, 21, 218, and so on. But you could keep both the same for both VXLANs. And then, of course, you need to take care of the host entries that they don't overlap, that you make sure that the DNS server at one side, for instance, only gives IP addresses until 50, for instance, and 51 is for the other segment, let's say, of the virtual VXLAN or the connected VXLANs. And that through the ZeroTier bridge, you connect both, and these could be virtually really separated environments, clusters, even completely different systems even. And from a logical perspective, they're in the same LAN network. So I think you get the point, but I'm not going to try it now. This is certainly a nice thing that you might want to try yourself. I will create a recording about it so that you can always check it out later as a demo. Voilà, this was a pretty short session, basically because I lost a lot of time to get something solved in the environment. But I hope you appreciate at least this input. Do you have questions for me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
One question I was asking yesterday, but I think it was not clear enough. What I'm missing here is how the system knows to which physical interface it should bind this. I never see such physical interfaces. You have maybe one or two 1 gig interfaces, maybe one 10 gig interface. Where is the relation between the VLAN number I specified, the physical interface attached to the built in the node?
No, I saw the question and I saw the answers of Geert.
But it was not the right answer. I didn't want to talk yesterday. I think we should make it clear.
There is indeed a missing link here, and there is a missing link here that we need to explain a little bit better. Basically, what the missing link is that, as you said, somewhere we need to define the ZeroTier, or somewhere we need to define, for instance, in our case, the VLAN configuration, the bridge between the physical, somewhere the system needs to know. And that configuration is the default configuration we have in our G8 environment. We should show you too, right?
Yeah.
Because in your physical environment or virtual environment, you will have to do something similar. And what we have been using there, and that's a task for me, okay, I'll come back on it. What we have been using there is Open vSwitch. At the level of the nodes, there is a configuration on the nodes with Open vSwitch that makes that bridge. And that's a task for me. Let me come back on that. I need to show you that. I need to include that in the slides and in the documentation, so that also that part is something you can then configure on your environment.
Yeah.
I would have loved to show it now, but again, I'm not prepared for that. So let me prepare for that. And first of all, make sure that I communicate that over the Telegram discussion, so that it's clear. So what we'll probably do is create a slide explaining it, showing it where it is, and ping you on the slides on Telegram group, so that you know what to do. Because indeed, Geert has been answering, but what he said, for that type of setup, we don't have blueprints. In our G8 setup, the management network is only used for management. It doesn't say much, but I know that in our case, you know Jan, Jan has been doing that specific configuration. manually, basically manually. And I think this kind of configuration, yeah, can you do it automated? Probably, but yeah, you need. I think it's probably one of the manual configuration you need to do when starting from scratch. And okay, I need to come back to that. You need to see it. That's what you ask for.
Yeah. And the second question,
Yeah.
sorry for this.
No problem.
I've seen when you list the nodes, you have node names inside, different.
Yeah.
I didn't find the API for this.
So when I list the nodes,
Yeah.
Like here, this one.
Yes, this one. Yeah, just list. Yeah. You have CPU1, those. Then the host name.
Yeah.
When I do it on my, it always 0OS, the host name.
You don't see the host name? You don't get that?
No, it's always 0OS. It's always the same host name if you start a new.
Okay. Yeah.
It's 0OS that there's no, I found no
Okay.
API to change the host name.
Yeah, you want to know how they created the host name because now it's always defaulted to 0S. Okay, good point. Because I think that's a good question. That's probably a kernel parameter that you need to pass. Let me put that also on the slides as a follow-up for me.
Please, yeah.
That I need to figure out where you do that. Because indeed, if you have multiple nodes, it would be nice to have some kind of label.
It's always a pain in the ass to look at the ID. Okay. And
yes. Yeah.
A fancy name is always better.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me add this. So follow up queues. So two things. Huh?
vSwitch and host name.
The Open vSwitch configuration. You need to have all the details about that. Huh? vSwitch config. And then the other thing is the host name of the nodes. How to set. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. That's for me to follow up. I'll make sure that you'll get the answers to that one too. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
More?
Yeah, it's enough for today.
Sorry that I can't provide you the answer right away. That's something that I'll do later. More questions? Follow up? Feedback?
Well, Herbert, follow on Herbert's question. Having multiple NICs in hardware is, of course, one of the reasons you do it is normally failover. Is there any specific reason you're thinking about, Herbert, for having this ability to create the blueprint that takes usage of multiple NICs?
Yeah, of one hand, to separate really management traffic from the working traffic. So management traffic on the complete physical interface.
You mean as a bandwidth issue?
Yes, also bandwidth and security issue. So really complete.
Security is not really a matter because it's separated. It's virtually separated, but still separated.
Of course, yeah. But on one hand, and also load balancing. Of course, if you have only one 10 gig interface from one node, if there's something, it fails.
Yeah, but then obviously it would be paired and presenting itself to the outside world as just one interface. So it will still be one interface, but internally it will be paired and presenting itself.
Actually, I have no problem, but I think we should discuss a physical layout. Okay, when we say, one physical interface, which...
In my feeling, it's more a bandwidth / availability issue than it is a physical requirement to have, to be able to address multiple NICs.
And actually, when you do some high availabilities and some heartbeats, you always should use two different interfaces.
Yes, I agree, but then still, to the operating system or to the container, whatever, it's still presented as one NIC. And in the lower layers, it is actually two NICs, but that's something you do not really care about. Yeah,
that we need to how to configure the Open vSwitch to present this to
NICs. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, but to do the load balancing / failover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I posted the question on Ivan posted the question on Telegram to the group about these MAC addresses. You keep assuring yourself every time to create a MAC address which is unique, of course. That's a bit of an hassle. Is there something in the works to make that a little bit more easy?
Well, I discussed that with Geert too, and he didn't have a real answer either. I'm guessing, and we were guessing together, like we didn't check, but probably you will find somewhere on the internet a tool that creates easily MAC addresses. We don't have any specifically to do so in the environment. What we have been doing until now is come up with some MAC address. And personally, I don't know, but
yeah, couldn't it be a function of the AYS supplying MAC addresses?
Yeah,
Give me
could be.
MAC address.
It could be. Yeah, it could be a good feature request. Let's say, yeah? Like let's generate a MAC address. That's what.
Yeah, generate unique MAC address.
That's at least one that at least is unique in the setup. Eh?
Yeah.
Well,
actually, you need maybe a free vendor code. You check a free vendor code, and then you can randomly generate MAC addresses.
I would say uniquely worldwide, because you can always run into issues otherwise.
Yeah, that's why use a free vendor code.
Yeah.
What's the name, Herbert?
The first 6 digits of the MAC address is the vendor code. So this is the manufacturer.
The vendor.
Okay.
So the ones that were currently used were, as a matter of fact, were not using an existing vendor. They were like not used vendors. Yeah.
Yeah. Although then you cannot have a conflict if you use a new vendor.
Yeah, to our AYS function. Eh?
Yeah. Okay, let's follow up on that and see what people say here, how to work with that, because now and we have seen it. It's easy to make mistakes with that, and even if you don't make mistakes, you can get into nasty problems that are related to conflicts.
I once experienced this in real life with a bunch of HP NICs that were really having the same MAC addresses, and it took me quite a while to find out that was the issue actually.
Yeah. That's a good feedback. I think certainly some of the things that could be very costly in finding what the issue is.
Sure.
Can be very nasty. Yep, agree.
Yep.
Good. If no more questions, let me explain for what's next in the agenda. We have been discussing a lot about ZeroTier now, the gateway, and I still have follow-up for you on the gateway. For instance, the example of bridging to VXLAN. So that's certainly something I will provide to you. But the idea for the next session, the next 2 sessions, which are next week, is that we will start talking about AYS and about using AYS to automate OpenV Cloud stuff, and by preference OpenV Cloud running on top of ZeroOS. So what I will most probably do on the next session is give you a demonstration of OpenV Cloud as a solution, so that you understand what it is. You only have seen screenshots. I'll hope by then also to have a very first version of OpenV Cloud running on top of ZeroOS. Geert told me that he already has it working, but I haven't seen it yet, so I still need to try it myself. But even then, that's certainly not a big problem. So I can perfectly show you OpenV Cloud from how it works today, because it shouldn't change. And I will show you how to interact with OpenV Cloud from an at your service perspective. So I'll do demos on that. That will be the next session. And then the last session, also planned for next week, is really like, to be honest, the session I've been dreaming of myself already like 2 years. Yeah. And I'm not joking here. I mean, this is like the thing that I really hope that I will be capable of doing myself more and more, is creating my own AYS templates. so that you can use AYS to do full deployments, not from a provisioning perspective, but also from the monitoring and, let's say, the self-healing perspective. And we could demonstrate that not using Open vCloud, because if you start thinking about it, you could perfectly create an AYS template that does what we have been doing, for instance, today. So it would be a very nice exercise to show you how to create an AYS template that deploys an VXLAN with like 3 virtual machines and like all running Apache, why not? And make sure that they are well, nicely configured in a load balancing mode, and that you're basically creating an at your service template for deploying a very specific website. And what would be so different about it? Yes, it would be very easy to deploy with one single command and one single blueprint, and it would be very reusable to install it in any other environment that can accept AYS blueprints. But what would be very nice with it is that it also includes everything that is needed for AYS to know what to do when things go wrong. Like imagine that the node goes down, that automatically then creates like the VM on another node and makes sure that the node is again nicely attached to the same VXLAN. See, that would perfectly be a nice exercise of something we could create in a template, in an AYS template, that is even completely independent of Open vCloud. The difference there is that instead of talking with Open vCloud APIs, you would be talking with the orchestrator APIs. And that's actually exactly the same thing as we have been doing here. So it's basically about taking the APIs, put them in some Python code, and the Python code that we are talking about are these templates. And that's the last session. So I still need to decide whether I will be doing it on top of Open vCloud or whether I will be doing it on top of the orchestrator. And in a way, it doesn't make too much sense, because remember in one of my slides, we said that Open vCloud 2.7, the current version, will be replaced by Open vCloud 3.0. But in reality, it's not just a replacement of or porting of one thing to another thing, because part of what currently is included in Open vCloud will go to the orchestrator and go to the at your service part that we have been creating for it. So what you will see, many of the APIs we expose now at the level of Open vCloud will basically move to the orchestrator going forward. Many of the functions that typically were exposed at a higher level will become available at the level of the orchestrator itself. So for the last session, it should not even be about talking to Open vCloud. The session is really about how do I create a template that does all the provisioning in an automated way, and does that in a way that it can survive failures, and can automatically like do auto scaling and auto healing and basically auto moving workloads based on reading statistics, for instance. So what we will then do in this session, we'll introduce all that. We will probably do a small demo of a very first version. And then I guess we'll have to do follow-up sessions where we go much more deeper. So probably this will be topic of like another 3 other sessions. Now that being said, my next week is my last week before I will take some time off, at least 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks of August, there won't be any session from me. And next week I'll be in Ibiza, where Christophe is now, until Tuesday. So the next session will most probably be on Wednesday, because I don't think I have good internet connectivity on the location I'll be on Tuesday. So the next session will be on Wednesday, and I repeat, the session will be about further demystifying Open vCloud and showing you how it runs on top of ZeroOS. That's what we will be doing. And then Wednesday, and the next session will probably be then last Friday, before I leave for vacation. Voila. Is that okay for you?
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. One last thing.
Sure. Go ahead.
Can you send out your last Insomnia settings?
This?
Yeah, the whole one. Yeah.
You want to see something here?
No, the settings to us. The whole with all the
Share
content. Share them. The.
Of course. I will. You want me to export this thing?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll export everything here and I'll make it available immediately after the session on Telegram. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's still not complete, by the way. I'm adding like where I need them, and but most of the things, well, everything I've been used is what most of you will be using. Right. Okay. I will share that with you. Excellent.
Super.
Good.
Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again, ladies
session.
and gentlemen.
Okay, one last question.
Sure.
In this regard, and you were explaining about the team drive you were working on. Is there any news on that topic?
Working on what? Sorry.
Team drive. So a location where we can share information.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been doing anything on it. The team drive. I need to check that again. The point was when I wanted to.
There is an existing team drive, of course. You saw that.
I mean, I have an existing. You mean like? Let me show you. Like in my Google Drive. That's what you mean. This.
Yep.
This is my Google Drive.
Oh, I'll share a team drive that is already being used within the company.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the point. Sasha did create one, and I asked one of the guys from support, like, create one for me specifically with the name EAP, and then I got like feedback, like, no, this is not possible. This paying account. I was really confused. Like, okay, but we pay for all this, so, and I know that Sasha has one. Mm-hmm. So share it with me, and that will automatically remind me to then again still create one that is only for the EAP.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because for the slides, I agree, it's easier to have access. Because the slides currently, let me show you, they are here in the Gig University, and then we have a folder, and all the slides are here. And probably I can give you access. I need to.
Of course, you're sharing them already in a read-only fashion, which works. So that's good.
So I guess I could share this folder also, get a shareable link. Should I do that? Let's do that. So when let's see that. Let me immediately share this on Telegram, and maybe this is enough.
Yeah, that's the solution. The difference with Team Drive is it's not that big. Google Drive and Team Drive are of course related. Yeah. But something is either in Team Drive or in Google Drive, so you can't reside objects in both.
Yeah. Okay. Voila. Try this. If this doesn't work, we need it anyway. Another one, but this will probably do what we are needing. We need a place where all the slides are nice.
Well, of course, you'll get a request access from everyone.
Well, I don't know. It's anyone. I think you will. Okay. I see. Wait.
Yeah, I'm just sending you the request. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me change it. It's not correct. Let me. Anybody? No more. Let me specify. Anybody with this link.
Yeah.
This is what you need. Can view only. Let's keep it like that. And I guess it's a new link that I got now. Done?
Yes, so.
So, new link. Voila. This is the link that you. It's the same one. See, it's the same one. I can even.
Yeah, it's just the access issue. Yeah.
So now you have access, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Yeah, it's listing. Yep.
Yeah.
It works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Voila.
So there you could put that expert there as well. Yep.
I'll include that in the slides. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the export of Insomnia. Then you have it all in one place.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Cool. Will put, good point. I will put export also there. Okay. Perfect. Good that we work together.
Yep. Super idea.
I love it.
Super
Google Maps working easy, working together easy. Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much again, all. And we have a day off tomorrow here in Belgium, so well, I can only say enjoy the weekend already. I'm going to enjoy the weekend a little bit sooner than you, but I'll enjoy it. Enjoy it too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.